Alright. See if we can't find the stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. There it is there. Loading on to the channel. Audio is working as it should. Streams up, chat's up, we're all good to go. That's absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome to round 10 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and tonight we'll be racing at Circuit Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. Constructed in 1948 and used in the first season of the Formula One World Championship in 1950, Circuit Zandvoort is one of the oldest racetracks on the Formula One calendar and was used frequently in Grand Prix racing until 1985. With the rise of a certain Dutch Formula One racing driver, Zandvoort would make its unexpected return to Formula One in 2021 with an updated layout. The circuit now measures up at 2.65 miles and consists of 14 corners and 2 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1 and Turn 10. It also features 2 steeply banked corners at Turns 3 and 14, which have proved to be accident hotspots in online league races. With it being quite a narrow, old-fashioned circuit, overtaking will prove to be somewhat difficult in today's race, which makes this qualifying session all that more important. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Silverstone. There was 2 incident reports, the first of which involving Garvey and Texas Tornado. I know Garvey is competing in this race. Texas Tornado, I don't think so. But the stewards deemed no one at fault for the collision, so no further action. But there was another penalty for Mr. Garvey for retiring on track. He's been given a qualifying ban plus 2 penalty points for what he did, so I do not believe Garvey will be qualifying in this race. He'll be starting from plumb last for this Dutch Grand Prix. Less than ideal around a circuit like this. But with no time penalties, the final finishing positions from last week's race remain completely unchanged. I would run through the championship order heading into this event, but the standings haven't been updated, and I didn't check the standings table early enough to collect the results and work it all out myself. But I would assume Bummer 22 is still leading the way on 155 points, with Vermeer in second on 142. Both drivers were absent from last week's race at Silverstone, though we do have Vermeer in this race today, so there's a real chance he'll take the championship lead after this round with only a 13-point gap between himself and Barmer. Barmer again absent for this race here at Zandvoort. Now, qualifying's just begun, and to be totally honest, this won't be the most engaging part of qualifying because the rain is set to dry up. According to the custom weather forecast that we got before the race, it is meant to be intermediate conditions here at the beginning, but it is set to dry up towards the end of the session. Now, it probably incentivizes the drivers to go out and do some laps anyway, because in the race, it's meant to be a dry start, it's meant to be a dry middle period as well, but towards the end of the race, there's meant to be some rain. So the drivers should probably get out on track, try and set a few laps in these intermediate conditions, just so then they can prepare themselves heading into the race itself. Dingers sets the first representative lap time, 1 minute 20.758. I imagine as the session progresses, those times will tumble. Yeah, I believe so, Mr. Garvey, if you haven't served the qualifying ban yet, yeah. Looking at these incident reports, yeah, Mr. Garvey, qualifying ban plus 2 penalty points for retiring on track was supposed to be served last night, so it carries into round 12. Interesting. Also 1 penalty point for no POV. Yeah, so seems that you're on the no-no list, Mr. Garvey. No Name making his way through the middle part of the racetrack as Electric Blade jumps to the top with a 1 minute 20.650, just a little over a tenth faster than Dingers in P2. coming around turn 10 and heading down towards the tricky complex of turns 11 and 12. We've got a big braking zone here into 11, which is one of the better overtaking spots on the racetrack. Making his way now out of turn 12 up towards turn 13. Very tricky corner to get right. Very easy to get it all wrong. And around the final bank curve of turn 14, heading back onto the main straightaway, up towards the line for No Name. It's a 21.980, currently 7th fastest out of the time set. So drivers making their way around the racetrack, probably doing more than one run in this qualifying session. Maybe some of them might have race fuel in the car, just so then they can get a proper idea of what the conditions are going to be like during the race itself, when you've got a race load to try and deal with. Electric Blade, you going to try and complete this lap, buddy, or are you going to go back into the pits? We'll find out. Pit lane entry is another tricky area of the racetrack. It's a very fast approach. It's very easy to speed into the entry. As you can see, the speed limit set at 37 miles an hour, or 60 kilometers an hour. Here's a big push on the brake pedal as you go into pit entry. If you don't time it right, you'll fire across the speed limiter line way too fast. You'll get a speeding penalty. It doesn't seem Scavney's on a flying lap. He's not using any battery. Johnny Damon, no, he's not using any battery either. Vermeer was trying to build up some battery. You can see there he was in neutral just periodically then. There's a little trick in this game where if you put the car into neutral and you rev the daylights out of it, you recharge your battery, and it's a very quick recharge too. It recharges very, very quickly. You can see as well the rain has stopped. There is no raindrops anywhere on the halo, so this will be the final lap on the intermediate tyre for Vermeer. Into turn 1 we go. Third gear, gently reapplying the throttle, coming out of the corner. Then heading up towards the right-hander of turn 2. That little left-hand kink isn't a corner on the official track map. Around the first big bank corner, turn 3. Important that you get a nice exit through here, so you can carry plenty of speed through turn 4, into turn 5, and the right of turn 6. Now into the notorious turn 7. Fifth gear, back on the accelerator. So easy to get it wrong through this complex. Around the right of turn 8, up towards the right-hand hairpin of turn 9. Down to third gear, clipping the apex, maybe missing it by a foot, half a foot. Around the left-hand hairpin of turn 10. Nice and tidy on the exit there. Then up towards turns 11 and 12. Hard on the brakes at the 100-meter board. Clipping the first apex, making his way around the long left of turn 12. Nice and steady on the accelerator. Up towards turn 13. On the brakes again, down to third gear. Very tidy, keeping it just about off the curb on the outside of 13. Out of turn 14, up towards the line now for Vermeer. It's a 1 minute 19 flat. He is 1.5 seconds faster than Johnny Damon in P2. But don't you worry, the times are going to tumble. And tumble very, very quickly. The track will dry up. It looks pretty bone dry. There's a slight sheen over the racetrack. There's a bit of light bouncing off it, but I imagine the racetrack is going to evolve quite quickly and turn into a dry racetrack in no time flat. Or it'll stay in this slushy period for the rest of the session. Who knows? This game can be a bit random. Conditions can change like a light switch. It's just into, then almost instantly into dry. And in other occasions, especially at racetracks like Spa, I've noticed it at Spa a lot, there's this slushy period where the inters still kind of work, but you can drive on the softs. It's very, very difficult to work it all out. Typically, when DRS is enabled, that's the indicator. That's when you know that the track is dry enough. But even so, there are periods where you get the prompt, but the inters are still better. Yeah, it's just a massive headache for the drivers to try and work out what tyre you need to be on. You sort of need to rely on everyone else to try and work out if you need to be on intermediates, if you need to be on the soft compound tyre. Blade making his way around turn 3. In the video game world, we take a very different line through that corner compared to real life. In real life, see the drivers use the very top of the banking to try and carry as much speed around the corner as possible and just send it down the following flat out section. In the video game world though, that outside line, it does work, but it's definitely not faster than just hugging the inside at the bottom of the racetrack. Yellow's out, slow car, that might be Harrisplex. Yes it is. He was going a bit slowly through the final bank corner at Zone Vault. Electric Blade up by 1.5 seconds to the middle sector. Got just over 7.5 minutes left in qualifying, so we're beyond the halfway point. Through turn 13, up towards turn 14, the final corner on the racetrack, climbing up through the gears, hovering at about 90% throttle there. Not brave enough to go through it at full throttle just yet, but he goes to the top. 18.312, he obliterates Vermouth's time, perfectly demonstrating the rapid changes in track condition. Dinger's on a lap. Nortec coming towards the end of a lap here. He's up by 1.6 seconds to the middle sector. Crossing the line, he jumps to P2. He's 3/10 slower than Blade, but he's up in second. That's what matters most. Cam Tizzle coming out of turn 3, up towards turn 4. Then the left of turn 5. Then the right of turn 6. And up towards the notorious turn 7. Down to 5th gear, modulating the throttle well. The car looks stable. Cam is in control right now. Tidy run out of turn 8, up into the tricky braking zone of turn 9. You have to steer and brake at the same time. For anyone who doesn't use ABS, they know how difficult that can be. Out of turn 10, not using any of the outside curb. That's a very wise thing to do in these sort of tricky conditions. Typically the curbs don't offer a great deal of grip, so it's advised that you try and avoid them as best you can. You can see a fairly similar story out of turn 12. Around turn 13, how much curb will he use here? Just a little slither of it, as Dinger's he almost does an 18 flat. 18.001. Cam will cross the line, jump up to P4, Stubbly up to P3. Seems it's still required of the drivers to use the intermediate tyre. Has anyone got the soft tyre bolted on in the garage? We've got a few. But is the track ready? It's still got that sheen over it. It has not evolved quickly. It's done the exact opposite. It is evolving incredibly slowly. What does Stubbly do here? Does he go into the pits? He's low on fuel, so yeah, he's going back in. Taking it very steady into the pits there. And this might be a fairly similar qualifying session to what we had a season ago back in Miami, where we had this kind of qualifying session. We had rain at the beginning and it dried out towards the end. And it turned out that the intermediate tyre, even though it stopped raining sort of before the halfway mark, the intermediate tyre was the tyre you needed to be on. So maybe it might turn out to be the same deal here at Zandvoort. It's a gamble. Do you gamble it, go out on the soft tyre? Is it dry enough to be on the soft tyre? Or do you stick it out on the intermediates and maybe risk not being on the right tyre at the right time? Bersey's out on track right now. He's on a set of slicks. This will give us a decent idea of what the track's like. We're right on board. Have a look at the steering input, throttle brake inputs. Now he's not pushing just yet. Obviously he's on an outlap. He's just trying to gauge himself right here, right now. And we've still got 4 minutes of evolution to go through. Within those 4 minutes, the track could change. It could go into a dry state, and the softs will switch on. But right now, right here, right now, it still looks inter. Surprisingly. Still got that sheen. You can see that reflective surface on the racetrack. Will Bursey push? Looks like he will. Right on board with Bursey. Give you another tour of this 2.6 mile racetrack. Up towards turn 1. Entry speed 186 miles an hour. Goes through the opening corner of Tarzan. Up towards turn 2. 5th gear. 6th gear. Back down to 5th. Then up towards turn 3. 3rd gear. Not hugging the bottom all the way around, but it's a tidy run. Very gentle on the accelerator on the exit. Around turn 5. Into turn 6. Up and over the crest and into turn 7. Down to 6th gear. Was that quicker compared to some of the other drivers I've seen? I don't know. He's apparently purple to the first sector. But because he hasn't set a time yet, that could be a glitch. That is a glitch in the game where, in the spectator POV, you're given false purple sectors. We'll have to wait and see what Bursey can do. And there's the call. DRS is enabled, so the game says the track is dry enough. But will the tyres respond the same way? Will the inters still be better? And obviously everyone's now on the soft tyres, so everyone's still their fate. Except for Matty Robbo down in P13. He hasn't qualified yet. Up towards the line. Oh, that's massively quicker. 1 minute 16.074. It is definitely time for slicks. Definitely. So those weren't false purple sectors. They were real. Slick tyre is the tyre you need to be on. You need to let the track evolve a bit though. Optimally, and I mean optimally, you want to cross the line with 1 second left. That way you have the very best conditions possible to set your flying lap. Trouble is, you've got 14 other drivers trying to do the same thing. Nortec heading around the final corner, making his way down the main straightaway towards the line. He jumps up to P2 with a 16.8, but he's got one more opportunity to try and set a flying lap. So he makes his way through the opening sector up towards turn 3. Bring it down to 3rd gear, hugs the bottom. Least at the entry of the corner. Electric Blade jumps up to P3 with a 17.3. Dingers up by 1.2 seconds to the first sector. He makes his way through turn 8 up towards turn 9. Switchback jumps to the top with a 13.0. He beats Bursey's time by a small margin, 3 seconds. Dingers heading up towards the middle sector split. 99 does a 15.0. Dingers does 50.0. He's up by 3.5 seconds to the mid-sector. He's looking at a mid-14. Vermouth jumps to the top with an 11.4. Dingers makes his way around the final corner up towards the line now. DRS open. Matty Robbo retires in the pit lane. He's going to start from the back. Dingers jumps up to P2 with a 12.9. Chase making his way through the final sector now, as I believe Nortec has just jumped up to P2. He has. Harris Plex has jumped up to P3. The clock has hit 0. These are the final flying laps of this qualifying session. Switchback's done. He will not be improving. Scavney's up by a little over half a second to the first sector. He doesn't have a lot of battery though. Stubley's jumped up to P3. Chase up to P2 with an 11.7. No Name's up by a fair chunk to the middle sector. He's got 2 corners left to get through. Bursey's done a 12.6. That's P7 for him. Harris has retired. His qualifying session is over. Up towards the line now for No Name. 1 minute 12.636. P7 for him. Dingers up by half a second to the mid-sector. Cam Tizzle has jumped to the top with an 11.2. He's beaten Vermouth's time by 2.5 tenths. Dingers, can he do anything on his final run? What about Scavney? Up towards the line. No, it's not enough. It's P13. Dingers, anything left in the tank? Jumps up to P8 with a 12.4. What a weird, bonkers qualifying session we got here at Zandvoort. And the front wing missing on Vermouth's Ferrari means it's qualifying done for him. It's Cam Tizzle who will start from pole position for this Dutch Grand Prix. And how that timing was everything. Cam timed it absolutely perfectly. That's one of the great things about these kinds of qualifying sessions. You just never know what you're going to get. It's a bit difficult for me. I've got no idea where to look half of the time. It's all down to luck. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see what Cam was up to on his lap. But whatever he did, it was good enough for pole. Vermoon will start alongside him on the front row in second. Chase in P3, followed by Stubley in fourth. Johnny Damon will start P5. Electric Blade in sixth, followed by Nortec in seventh. Dingers 8th, Harris Plex in 9th, and No Name rounds out the top 10. Bursey will start P11, followed by Switchback in 12th, Scavney in P13. Garvey had a qualifying ban to serve, and Matty Robbo elected to just not qualify. He'll start from the very back in 15th position. There we go, first time pole for Cam Tizzle in the AM1 Championship. Under dramatic circumstances, a very hectic end to that qualifying session here at Zandvoort. Race time now. And remember, there's meant to be rain at the end of this race. It's not going to be dry all the way through. It's going to be dry for, I reckon, at most 22 laps or so, judging off what the forecast says. It's meant to be, the first segment is dry, middle segment is dry, towards the end it's meant to be raining. So, yeah, I'd imagine 22 laps is probably going to be where the window is for when the rain starts to come. You can see it's overcast. It's overcast for sure here at Zandvoort. So, yeah, this ought to get interesting. Now, drivers, will they bother to make any changes to their setup? I doubt it. It's all about getting the fuel right and getting the strategy right. Do you start on the hard compound tyre, try and push until when the wet weather comes, or do you start on the mediums, try and make up positions early? For the front runners, it might be a better idea to start on the mediums. Try and build up a gap to everyone else behind and give yourself a buffer. But depending on when the wet weather comes, you might back yourself into a corner if you start on the medium compound tyre. See a lot of hards. I see a lot of hards. So, run through the order just quickly. We've got Cam Tizzle, who will start from pole position for this Dutch Grand Prix. We'll have Vermoo starting alongside him on the front row. Chase starting P3, has Stubley alongside him on the second row. Johnny Damon will start P5, Electric Blade in P6, and DK Nortec will start from P7. All 7 of those drivers will be starting on the hard compound tyre. Dingers will start P8, he's on the medium compound tyre. Harris Flex in P9 is starting on the hards. No Name in P10 is starting on the mediums. And we have Bursey in P11 starting on the hard tyre. Switchback in P12 is starting on the mediums. Scavney in P13 is starting on the hards. Garvey in P14 is starting on the mediums. And Matty Robbo, starting from the back, is on the hard compound tyre. So we've got 4 drivers on the mediums. That means 11 drivers are on the hard compound tyre. Interesting. And I think that was Chase who made a mistake. It was. Through the first sector. He's now at the back of the field. Needs to make sure his tyres are nice and warm for the start of the Grand Prix. Nobody likes to drive on cold hards. They offer literally zero grip. Alright. Leader is making his way back onto the main straight, up towards the grid. Now, Cam better check up. Yeah, I thought he overshoot. I knew he was going to overshoot that. I'm like, Cam, you better start braking soon, buddy. And he did not start braking soon. He's overshot his grid box. He's now starting a meter back. The move, he's lined up pretty well. Now Cam has the racing line heading up towards turn 1. He should get a better start with a cleaner side of the racetrack. But Vermoo has the inside line heading towards turn 1. If Vermoo gets a better start, he'll get the whole shot to try and take the lead into the opening corner. All 15 cars are now lined up ready to run. We got 36 laps in front of us and 10 red lights. We're underway here at Zandvoort. It's a nice start for those in the mid-pack. Oh, and a spin! No! Oh, dearie me! Lights out and away we crash. Bursey, Nortek and Scabney involved in an incident before turn 1. Out of turn 1 come the leaders through turn 2. Stubley and Cam battling for position. So is Blade and Chase as they go through 3 wide through turn 3. Out of the first bank corner up towards 4. The two Alphas getting very touchy with each other through that corner. Through turn 6, over the crest and into turn 7. Stubley has taken P2. Cam Tizzle down to P3. Not a great start, but Vermoo's got a blinder. He's got a 1.7 second lead already. And he hasn't even completed the first lap. And some of those drivers in the middle of the field got a terrific start. But what on earth happened between Bursey and Nortek, I'm not sure. The two tangled, and they're now a long way back. And Scabney, he just had nowhere to go. He had to come to a stop to avoid making a collision. Out of turn 12, up towards turn 13. Yellows are out. It's Switchback in the Aston Martin. He's around at turn 12. He drops down to P13. Here comes Bursey and Nortek. Looking to the inside. No, he doesn't fully commit to a move. That's a wise thing to do there. Robbo, Garvey goes into the pits. He must have damage. That's the only reason why he'd be pitting in so early. And man, what a terrific start from Vermoo. Front wing change going on. Hard tyres being put on too. On a double stack for McLaren. Deary me. What a terrible, terrible start for them. Stubley now in P2, he's had a fairly decent start, making up 2 spots. Cam, less than ideal, but he's in the top 3 right now, with his teammate right behind. Then we have the 2 Alfa Romeos of Dinges and Chase. Harris got a tidy start, he's up 2 positions. Dinges got a pretty good one too, he's up 3. Matty Robbo has made up the most out of anybody after the opening lap. He's up 5 positions. Shows what keeping out of trouble does on the opening lap. No name, Johnny Damon. Close together, but no one ready to try and make moves just yet. In terms of biggest losers, Chase down 3 positions, Johnny Damon down 3, Nortek down 5 after his incident on the opening lap. Vermoo's bolting away. Damon is closing in, not by enough to try and attack into turn 1. He stays behind for now. Sector 2 yellows, that's Bursey, I believe. Yes, it is. In the gravel trap he goes. He's now down in last position. There's our race leader, Vermoo. Stubley, 3.6 seconds behind, and here comes the chasing pack. Cam's losing a little bit of touch. The gap is now 8 tenths between himself and Stubley. He needs to stay within that 1 second range. There might only be 2 DRS zones around this circuit, but trust me, DRS can prove to be a very powerful ally. And Cam, it looks like he's not going to get it. Nice aerial shot here, looking down at the racetrack, and a mistake from Cam. Through goes Blade into 3rd place. Cam down to 4th. That might be 5th as Dinges fires it down the inside and tries to drive around the long way, and he does. Chase follows through. Oh, not quite. And now Dinges battling Blade through turn 13. What a great piece of driving there from Dinges. Drove round the outside of Cam Tizzle at turn 12. Dives it down the inside at 13. He moves through into 3rd though. Blade, he's going to try and take the position back. Down the inside at turn 1. Dinges trying to fight round the long way on those medium compound tyres. He's got the grip. He's got the speed. He keeps P3. Cam Tizzle almost going into the back of his teammate there at turn 3. Probably none too pleased about his mistake at turn 10. It's cost him dearly. Now Chase has an opportunity to try and make a move. Oh, but he spins! He spins at turn 7. Oh, he almost put it into the wall. Oh, hello, traffic. How you doing? Nortek's going to come through. Now he's got plenty of clear track. Oh, his Chase has left the session. Well, hopefully the AI doesn't get stuck. It doesn't. Thank goodness for that. Into turn 11 through turn 12. No name, can he try and do something here? Burzy has spun. That is at turn 3. No obvious damage on the Ferrari. Vermeer out in front. 4.3 seconds is the gap. It's a healthy margin and it's continuing to build. Stubley in P2. Dingers in P3. He's made moves early. He's made them stick as well. It's been very good driving. Switchback. Harris battling for position. So Switchback moves through into P9. Harris, can he fight back? No, is the answer. Not through 2 and not through 3. No name is close. He's closing in through turn 6. Trouble is, you just really can't do anything through this middle sector. There might be a potential overtaking opportunity coming up here at turn 9. If you can get a good run through turn 8, you can try and send it down the inside. Oh, or you can wait for that. Johnny Damon has made a mistake. He spins out at the exit of turn 9. He drops down to P8. Switch back. Oh, and another spin for Damon. Oh, dearie me. It's going from bad to worse. You have to be so careful. When you spin out, the tyre temps skyrocket. And it's like driving on ice. And you get absolutely no grip until the tyres cool down and the grip comes back. Blade closing in on Dingers. Dingers moving about to try and break the slipstream. Blade is right on the back of Dingers. He's hunting his prey through turn 2, up towards turn 3. Out of the bank corner, a bit of a moment there for Blade. It's cost him time. The gap has opened up by about half a tenth. Through turn 7, 5th gear. Nice and tidy from Blade. Through turn 8, up towards turn 9. Ultimately, Blade doesn't need to do anything silly right now. Just needs to keep up with Dingers. Let Dingers do all the hard work on the medium tyre. And then when the opportunity arises to try and make a pass, he can try and make a pass. But he doesn't need to push incredibly hard right now. It's only lap 6 of 36. We've got a long way to go. Right now, think about being patient. Measure yourself. Or Dingers not doing himself any favours, neither does Blade. He loses control at turn 13. He's facing the wrong way. Oh, that's a really nice recovery. Oh, hang on. Wait. Wait for Nortec. There we go. Now you're all clear. All clear. There we are. Dearie me. Just went a little bit too wide at the exit of turn 13. That outside curb. Oh, it's a troublesome thing, that outside curve at turn 13. It's so wide, right? You can use so much of it in real life. In video game world, though, if you use any more than half of it, the car will bottom out and you'll spin into a wall. It's not a fun thing to experience. I've experienced it. I'm sure a lot of these guys racing have experienced it here at Zandvoort. That corner is just a complete nightmare. Up towards turn 11. Now Cam has to pick up where his teammate left off. The gap sitting at half a second between Dingers and Cam right now. Tidy exit out of turn 12. Matty Robbo has driven superbly. It really just demonstrates perfectly what keeping out of trouble does. Especially in a chaotic race. Cam's on the attack. Draws alongside Dingers. He'll go by Dingers and move into P3. The Alfa Romeo driver unable to fight back. And now Robbo will join the fray. We have a 3-car fight again. Around turn 3. No Name's not too far behind either. Might have a bit of a battle starting to brew here for third position. We'll just have to be patient. Let the drivers do their thing for a little while. See what happens. No signs of rain yet either. You can see on the halo, no raindrops whatsoever. We've got to keep an eye out for when the raindrops start to come. I'm estimating, I'm guessing it's going to be around lap 20. Just have to wait and see. Right, can Dingers try and fight back? He's a bit too far behind, if I'm frank. He needs a nice run out of turn 13. If he can get a run, he's missed the apex again. This is the second time I've seen him miss the apex at 13. He needs to get closer to that inside curb. He'll get a huge help though with DRS. Close in on Cam. He's got a run going. But, oh, he's actually hit the back of Cam. Sends him round, more contact, and he sends himself around into the barrier. Oh, drama at turn 1. And the person who benefits it, you guessed it, is Matty Robbo. Keeping out of trouble. He has moved from last to third after 9 laps. And I don't think he's genuinely overtaken a single car. I think he's just kept out of trouble. Just naturally moved up to third. Sector 3 yellows. That was Scavney, I think, making a mistake as Chase has rejoined the session. So he'll take control. He's down in P13. Still got a long way to go in this race. So just need to stay patient. Let the laps tick over. Maybe a bit of luck can go his way with a potential safety car or something like that. And then he's back in it. Similar story with everyone else who has found drama during the opening 10 laps of this race. Switch back a bit wide there at turn 13. And it's cost him 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths. It's cost him a lot of time with that mistake. Shows you what one little oopsie can do in terms of track position. I mean, we saw that earlier with Dingers and Cam Tizzle. The Dingers just, it seemed like he outbroke himself into turn 1. I wasn't properly looking at the braking board, so I'm not sure if Cam broke early. But Dingers outbroke himself. I'm going to guess Dingers outbroke himself. It didn't compensate enough for the momentum he had. He hit the back of Cam. Both got sent round. Just one little thing. And the results, both drivers dropping positions. Cam down to P5, Dingers down to P7. And those medium tyres on Dinger's car, they're probably not in great condition now after that as well. But what drama we have had during these opening laps here at Zandvoort. Absolutely insane. This man has avoided pretty much all of it. He's driven a pretty steady race so far. 8.7 seconds is the gap between himself and Stubley in P2. He's driving very well, Vanu, right now. Driving tidily. And he's actually catching up to his teammate. Bersey just made his way through turn 7. Vanu is going through turn 7 right now. So he's going to put his own teammate a lap down in a few moments' time. Stubley, pretty similar story, I think. Stubley hasn't really caught himself up in any sort of drama. He's in P2, and very much the same with Matty Robbo. We saw it at turn 1, just avoiding the carnage, gaining positions. Did not qualify, did not put a single lap down on the board at all during qualifying. And he's now in P3. He started last season in P3. No Name up in P4. I think he's kept out of trouble as well. He's on the medium compound tyre though. That may not become a problem later in the race. We'll just have to wait and see what those mediums are capable of. We know Cam has got pretty decent pace, top 3 pace, right here, right now. Just needs to try and get within DRS range of No Name, and maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to battle for position. Switchback a little bit behind, 1.1 seconds behind. I think he's in the fray as well. He's made a couple of mistakes that's held him back. But if he can just try and keep off the curbs as best he can, he should be able to close in. Try and make this a more interesting battle for 4th position. Cam's turned it on. He's now 4 tenths behind No Name. We're going to have a battle here for 4th place. No time at all. We might have a battle on for 7th as well. We got Dingers, Harris and Nortec in a train. P7, 8 and 9. We better keep an eye on this as well. We'll go back up to Cam. And No Name. As they head around turn 10. Cam will open DRS and close in on the Mercedes in front. Heading up towards turns 11 and 12. Tidy exit there from Cam. No Name might have a bit of a difficult time keeping the Alpine behind. Out of the final corner, down the main straightaway we go. Cam not using any battery either. Just closes in, has a look. Oh, yeah, okay. Fortunately, No Name saw him coming and he sort of left the door half open, but that was sort of a half-committed dive to the inside. If he used a bit more battery and actually tried to attack into turn 1, yeah, that might have been a more genuine attempt at an overtake, but he was sort of half there. He sort of half stuck his nose in down the inside. Sort of relied on No Name to see him coming and open up the door, because if No Name didn't see him coming, it would have been front wing to rear wheel contact between the two cars, which would have likely sent one of them around, maybe even both of them. And I would think Cam would have been found at fault. He didn't have the momentum. He wasn't far enough alongside to make that move stick. But like I said, if he used a bit more battery, gained a bit more momentum, a bit more speed, really tried to send it down the inside, that overtake might have worked down the inside of turn 1. Coming out of the final corner now, what will Cam do this time? Switchback's now in the fray. Only 7/10 behind Cam Tizzle. Down towards turn 1. Has a look again. That's a bit better. Coming out of Tarzan now. And Cam moves in front into P4. So he was able to gain a lot more momentum down the straightaway. Went for a more genuine dive down the inside into turn 1. No Name saw him coming. Left the door open. It was good, respectful driving, but that's a lot better. Need to be more committed on the brakes. Need to be more committed on the battery to really send the message to the guy in front, hey, I'm really going for this. No Name read the play perfectly. Left the door open. Didn't lose too much time either. It's obvious that Cam has got pretty decent pace right now. Might be a good thing for No Name to try and follow Cam for a bit. His main worry, I would think, now is switchback. They're both on the same strategy, and they're only half a second apart. Through turn 11. Into turn 12. Half a second is the gap. Switchback. Can he do anything at the back of this DRS train? Don't know. I honestly don't know. He is low on battery. You can tell from the flashing lights at the back of the car. Only 3%. It's the same story with No Name though. So they're essentially in the same boat. Oh, hello. Nortec having a go at Harris. Down the inside of 1. Big old send from Nortec. Just about pulls it up. Moves through. I think that's Bursey moving out of the way. Letting his teammate through. So Bursey now a lap down in 15th position. Going to keep our eyes now on Nortec. Can he close in on Dingers? His blade pits in. Oh, he retires. Okay. We're not even at the halfway mark and he's elected to retire. He's had enough racing here at Zandvoort. Tidy run out of turn 10. Oh, not so much for Nortec. He had a little wiggle on. His blade has left the session as well. Nortec needs to keep his head screwed on, try and keep those mistakes to a minimum if he can. Try and keep the fight alive between himself and Dingers. The gap sits at 9.5 tenths. Not a great run through turn 13 either. Still within a second though, so he'll get DRS. He'll be able to keep Harris at bay, who was still keeping up with him, only half a second behind. And this battle between Nortec and Harris isn't over yet either. No Name still within a second of Cam, so he's following Cam pretty well. Oh, he's just lost it now. That gap has crept over 1 second, just coming out of turn 3. If he can get back in it, he might be able to keep Switchback at bay, though Switchback is closing in. Look at him. 6 tenths the gap as he makes his way through the middle part of the lap. With the time he's gaining, it suggests that Switchback has got a better downforce setup compared to No Name here in P5. Down the straightaway, does he? Yeah, Switchback doesn't gain a huge deal of time with DRS open. We get a better idea down the main straightaway. So both similar battery. They're on the same age tyre, same compound too. Keep an eye on the top speeds. Down the main straightaway. Oh, that was late. That's too late, mate. Way too late on the brakes. Way too late on the brakes. Way too late of a call. I think he crossed the white line as well. That might result in a penalty if that's brought up. He's moved on to the soft compound tyre. Way too late. Bursey again? Yes, it is. There goes Stubley. Now a lap behind. Man in P2. That's what you got to be worried about here at Zandvoort. You just can't send it into pit lane. Can't do that. Need to be a lot more thoughtful heading into the pits at Zandvoort. Speed limit is set at 37 miles an hour. If you don't hit that, it's 5 seconds. Easy done. Easily done. So you need to be very, very thoughtful. But the gaps are now pretty spread out. Suppose we'll keep our eye on the race leader, shall we? No other battles going on right now. We're just waiting for the rain to come. Lap 18. When Vermeer ends this lap, we have reached the halfway mark in this Grand Prix. You can see the wear on the hard compound tyre as well. They are properly well worn after 18 laps. You can tell he's driving pretty well using the full width of the circuit. Keeping the apex is pretty spot on. Up towards turn 11. Just clipping the apex. Running wide, holy moly. There's a corner there, Vermeer. Gee whiz. Took a completely different corner there at turn 12. He heads down the main straightaway to begin another lap. We're at the halfway mark now. Beginning of lap 19 of 36 here at Zandvoort. Stubbly has closed in. The gap's now sitting at 7.5 seconds. So Stubbly's got to move on. He's got speed right now. He's got battery. Doesn't have a lot of fuel though. Got a red icon on the telemetry. How much fuel has he got? Minus 0.25. That's what he's got. So he's running a little bit under. But when the rain comes, he'll be able to gain that back without issue. Switchback sets a new fastest lap. 13.298. He's closing in on Johnny Damon. So we might have a battle on. We might have a battle on between the two McLarens, perhaps, of Garvey and Scabney. Just have to keep our eye on that. Top down shot here. Stubbly making his way down towards the chicane complex of 11 and 12. Nice and steady second gear around turn 12. Very tidy exit as well. Stubbly performing quite well. It's just unfortunate the gap sits at 7.7 seconds between the top two. Vermeer's put in a lot of hard work, try and build up the margin, and now he can drive his own race. He doesn't have to worry too much. Oh, two McLarens though, they're getting dicey as they go through turn 8, up towards turn 9. Scabney has a look, but doesn't commit to a move. Galvey's a little bit wide. Scabney closes in as they go through turn 11. Contact, and around goes Garvey. He's into the wall, and through goes Chase into P11. Is there damage on Garvey's McLaren? I'm not sure. Scabney pulls off to the side. I'm sorry, mate. I didn't mean to do that. And that's a 5-second time penalty for Bursey for ignoring blue flags. There's Matty Robbo in front. So Bursey not really paying attention to the blue flags, I suppose. Now he does. He moves out of the way, and through goes Matty Robbo into P3. In fairness to Bursey, it's a very tricky thing to do, to try and let someone through in the middle sector. It's so tough. Through turn 7, turn 8, it's almost impossible. You sort of have to check up quite a bit coming out of turn 8, I'd say. Move to the inside and just let the leading car make the move round the outside on the racing line heading into turn 9. You know, I can get the frustration going through that middle part of the lap, trying to find a spot to let the driver in front through. But, yeah. The game doesn't care, unfortunately, so he's now got a 5-second time penalty. Switchback closing in on Johnny Damon. Those tyres, though, won't feel as good as they were 4 laps ago. Still got pace. Tried to close the gap up. Damon, he's within a second of Harris, so we might have another 3-car fight. Again. Maybe. Scavney close, looking to the inside. Through turn 1. Scavney makes it work. He moves through into P12. No contact this time around between the two McLarens. Oh, Johnny Damon's close. He's dumping the battery too. He wants to have a go. Doesn't fully commit to the move though at turn 11, but he dumped a lot of battery to get very close to Harris, and switchback spins at the exit of turn 12. All that hard work on the soft tyre, now dumped. It's all gone. Yellow's out. It's the two McLarens again. It's Scavney who's around. No front wing damage on the car, from what I can tell. Damon gets by Harris. That's at turn 1. Damon moves into P7. Harris down to P8. Rain hasn't come yet either. Lap 22 now. This is where I predicted the rain would come. It's not come yet. Yeah, easier said than done, logic. Down the main straightaway, crossing the line. Lap 23 of 36. Yeah, I'm sure, logic. Out of turn 1. Yellow's out. That's Harris, Johnny Damon. Johnny's around. That is at turn 10. And here comes switchback. He'll move through. He'll take P8. Damon down to 9th. Yeah. Through turn 1. No name on 22 lap old mediums. They're not going to feel great. And the rain still hasn't arrived. It's lap 23 now. Yellow's out. That would be Scavney, I think, making a mistake. Johnny Damon into the pits as well. So he might have got front wing damage after his spin. Either that or he's just boxing for new tyres. There's 22 lap old hards. Can't go any longer. Low fuel in the car as well. Will the rain come? No fade. These are American drivers. They're competing at 9 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, 9 o'clock in the evening. Me though, I'm an Australian, so it's currently morning. For me, it's currently 10 minutes to 12 o'clock, midday. Very nice. American races always time themselves pretty well for me. Nice and in the middle of the day. Rain still hasn't arrived. We're entering the final third of this race. There was meant to be rain. I can remember the forecast. There was cloudy, rain. That was a custom forecast heading into the race. We still have no rain. I'm getting concerned for everyone on the low fuel because a lot of drivers probably anticipated one of two things. One, a safety car, because it's Zandvoort. I mean, a very natural thing to sort of expect. And two, the rain. You always save fuel in the rain. It hasn't arrived yet, though. Well, lap 25. This is it. We're now beginning the final third of this Dutch Grand Prix. A lot of drivers out on track on very, very old tyres. You need to drive cautiously, otherwise, who knows, maybe punctures might start to play a little bit of a factor in this race. Ooh. No name, under pressure here from Nortec. Down the main straightaway, into turn one. He'll move through, down the inside, easy overtake. With the power of DRS. Ah, there it is. There's the rain. Alright. We begun the final third. It was meant to come in the final third, so... Okay, the custom weather holds up. Yellow's out. That is switchback spinning. That's at turn one. Oh dear. Now get this pointed back in the right direction. Dingers will now close in. Maybe we might see a battle between these two. Who knows? Now, how quickly will it turn from dry to intermediate conditions? When will the race leader pit? Those tyres are very old now. The move will stay out for another lap. It's not ready yet. Stubbly, what will he do? Out of the final corner. No, he stays out too. So, obviously it's going to take a little while for the track to evolve into an intermediate state. Drivers are going to keep pushing on their very old, very worn, hard compound tyres. Somebody's in. I believe that's Bursey down in P14. He's had a less than great race, so he's moved into the bits, and he will probably chuck on the intermediate tyre. No name. 25 laps on the mediums. Those are going to be some pretty dead tyres once they come off the car. They're going to be pretty dead. Cam's closed in on Matty Robbo. We're going to have a battle on for P3, are we? He's low on fuel though. Minus 0.8 under fuel. There goes Gavney, I think that's Gavney. Yeah, it would be Garvey going through the final corner. Alright. This battle is going to materialise between Matty Robbo and Cam Tizzle. The race leader is in. Stubbly stays out. He doesn't believe it's ready. Matty Robbo stays out. So does Cam. Has Vermoo blown it? Has he pitted too soon? Oh! This is going to be an interesting storyline as we delve deeper into this Dutch Grand Prix. Not a great run there from Matty Robbo. Cam is now through into second. Can Cam pull away? The answer is yes. The gap is increasing. It's now 7.5 tenths between Robbo and Cam. And keep an eye on the fuel as well for all of the drivers. I'm sure fuel is going to turn into a problem as we get closer and closer to the checkered flag, unless of course we get a safety car or even just a VSC. When the VSC comes out, you can switch it into a lean fuel mode, try and save up some fuel. So, oh, this is going to get interesting. Who's pitted at the right time? Stubbly, will he stay out for another lap? I don't think Vermoo has closed in. Stubbly's in. Not staying out any longer. Yellow's out. That's No Name in the Mercedes. Has he punctured? No, he's just spun. He's just spun. Alright. Matty Robbo now takes the lead. Vermoo will move back up into second. Stubbly will leave the pits. So will Cam. Alright. Matty Robbo leads. The gap is 5.5 seconds between him and Vermoo. Is the gap going to increase or decrease? It's currently decreasing. It's now 5.4. So maybe it's time to move on to the Inter. Nortex onto the soft compound tyre. He doesn't believe it's wet enough. He's moved onto a set of softs. Harris is onto a set of intermediates. Switchback is in. DRS is disabled. There's the call from race control. When that call comes out, it usually means it's now enters. It's now time to move on to the intermediate tyre. No Name has pitted for softs. Is that the right call? Is that the wrong call? I can't help but feel, but that's the wrong call. Set of intermediate tyres for Chase. Two McLarens are out there right now. Oh, that's tight at the penultimate corner. Very tight. Matty Robbo's in. Might have gone one lap too far on those hards. Be overtaken by Vermeulen. Stubley. He'll move back through into second. Cam Tizzle. Will he pull away from Matty Robbo? Or is Matty closed in? There goes Cam. Oh, Cam's pulled away. Pulled away for sure. That one lap extra has hurt Matty. I don't think he'll care all that much though. I think he'll be pretty stoked with fourth. Just needs to get to the end of the race now. 5-second time penalty for Nortec to rub some extra salt into the wound. Pitted onto a set of softs. That wasn't the right call. Johnny Damon stays out for another lap. He's going to keep fighting on those slicks. What about No Name? Surely No Name comes in. Can't afford to be out there on those softs, but he's in 10th. That's 1 point. Does he keep fighting for that 1 point? He's going to try. He stays out. The gap to the car behind, 6.6 seconds. We've got 7 laps to go in this Dutch Grand Prix. Out to the final corner and down the main straightaway. The gap sits at 5.1 seconds between Vermeulen and Stubley. That should be a big enough gap for Vermeulen. Vermeulen has demonstrated a lot of pace over the course of the race. He's got a comfortable margin in hand. So long as Vermeulen doesn't make a mistake, he should be able to win this. Cam Tizzle in P3. He's got a bit of a fuel problem though. He is 0.7 under. He needs to get that fuel back. Oh, Matty Robbo's in worse trouble. He is minus 1.2 laps under. He needs to worry about fuel. So does Johnny Damon. He's under. He's still fighting. Harris is closing in. Harris has got extra fuel. He doesn't have to worry about fuel. He can push as hard as he needs to. Try and fight for that 5th place. Oh, and it's gifted to him. Johnny loses control. The medium tyres don't have any grip. Oh, and a collision. Oh, my word. He and the McLaren have come together. It was Scavney. A huge collision at pit exit has resulted in Scavney getting a broken front wing. Here comes No Name. He moves through. Oh, and another spin for Damon. Hits the barrier. Hello. Oh, no. Oh, somehow Chase gets through. And he retires on track. Wade has joined the session for whatever reason. He's rejoined the session. The Blade has moved through into 10th now after Johnny Damon lost control. Had his car parked at the pit lane exit. Scavney ran into it. And just it caused a massive mess at the exit of turn 1. So now Chase is into the points. No Name is now fighting for 9th. The gap is at 4.7 seconds now between himself and Chase. Yeah, pretty much, Dream. Pretty much. Plenty of drama here at Zandvoort. There's been so much of it. So much drama. Don't think it's over yet either. So we've got plenty of laps to go. Stubley is closing in. The gap is now 3.6 seconds between the top two. No Name can't go any longer, and he gets a time penalty for speeding. A 5-second time penalty for speeding. There goes Scavney off the racetrack. He loses control and hits the barrier again. It's going from bad to worse for Scavney in this Dutch Grand Prix. What's the gap between No Name and Garvey? This is another gap we have to keep an eye on because No Name now has a 5-second time penalty and the gap's at 3.5 seconds. Garvey has a shot of scoring 1 point. He has a genuine shot. Not a great run out of... Oh, he has to slow down and give way. That draws Garvey closer. He's now right on the back of No Name. 10th place is his, so long as he doesn't make a mistake. Scavney has retired in the pit lane. That is understandable, considering all of the stuff that has happened to him. At least he retired properly and did it in pit lane. That's quite understandable right there. What a dramatic race we're having. Nortec, can he hang on to P6? The gap between him and Dingers is 2.6, 2.7 seconds. He needs to double that margin with the laps remaining. He's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. That will hold him back in the final results unless he builds up a 5-second margin to Dingers here in P7, which I think is possible. No Name trying to build a margin here. The gap is now 1.3 seconds between himself and Garvey. Like I said, Garvey, I think 10th is his, so long as he doesn't make a mistake. Out in front, it's Vermouth leading the way. The gap sits at 3.2 seconds between himself and Stubley. Stubley has driven well in this final part of the race. He does have a bit of a fuel issue though. Oh, it's not very bad though. He's minus 0.14 under. So, yeah, he should be fine when it comes to fuel. Cam's in a good spot. He's got a clear track in front, clear track behind. So long as he doesn't make a mistake, third is his. Similar story with Matty Robbo. He's trying to save as much fuel as he can. The gap back to his teammate is 16.9 seconds, so he can drive as steadily as he needs to make sure he gets the fuel back and finish the race without entering into low fuel mode. You can see the huge lifting he has to do. Try and save up some fuel. Nortec's on the back of Harris. This might be a bit of an issue for Nortec. He's worrying about Dingers. He can't stay behind Harris if he's quicker. Might try and find a way by. Around turn 10. That second gear. Nice exit. Dumping some of the battery. Can't find a way through. Oh, I see, Blade. Playing the team game. Very sporting of you. And Harris just says, you know what, mate? Keep it. It's yours. Just let Nortec through. But the gap has now shrunk between Nortec and Dingers. It's now down to 2 seconds. It can be real tough for Nortec to hang on to P6 here. And now Harris has got trouble because Dingers will be closing in. We're going to have a battle on for P6. Stubley, 3.1 seconds behind. He doesn't have to do anything. Yeah, much better in terms of fuel. Way better. Yeah, Matty's having to do a lot of lifting and coasting to try and save as much fuel as possible. Oh, and a crash! That was Bursey losing control. He smashed it into the barrier. I don't think he's trapped. Yeah, he is trapped on the curb. Now this is where I would recommend a reset to circuit. It's clear now, he can reset, there we go. That is the only set of circumstances where I fully endorse a reset to track, when the car gets stuck. Because there's no other way you can get the car off the curb. There's literally no other way. And if you can't move, the game will disqualify you. The game won't hesitate, it will disqualify you. Dingers closing in on Harris. Battle is well and truly on for P6 here. 2 laps to go here at Circuit Zandvoort. Oh, Dingers closes in on the brakes. Has a nose alongside, almost making contact as they head into turn 2. Up towards turn 3. Down to 3rd gear. Up to 4th. Steady on the exit from both drivers. Gap now between Nortec and Harris is 3.2 seconds. That gap needs to build substantially. The amount of laps we have left. The leader has begun the final lap of this Dutch Grand Prix. We'll keep our eyes on this battle though. Dingers is close. He looks. Can't make the move stick at turn 9. Up towards turn 10. Has another look. Harris runs wide. Dingers draws alongside. He turns on the battery. Harris is going to fight this one though. Down the inside here. At turn 11, he gets back in front and he keeps P6. But importantly, the gap between Nortec here in P5 and Harris in P6 is 4.7 seconds. There's a chance that Nortec can get a top 5. It's a very, very real chance. Dingers, he has very little battery left to play with. He's closing in. Not enough to attack into turn 1. Oh, but he gets very close. The gap's now 5.1 seconds. 5th place belongs to Nortec right now, so long as he doesn't make a mistake. Out of the penultimate corner and around the final turn. It's been a superb drive from Vermeer. He will win the Dutch Grand Prix and take the lead of the AM1 Drivers' Championship. Stubbly will come home in a fine P2. And Cam Tizzle will complete the podium places. Just waiting on Matty Robbo. Nortec, 5.7 seconds. Yep, 5th place should be his. Garvey ends up scoring a point. Dingers gets by Harris. That was at turn 9. So Dingers moves into P6, and I think it's too little too late. I don't think he'll be able to catch up. Try and take P5. Cam, a fine P3. Matty Robbo, he'll get driver of the day. Started from plumb last, kept completely out of trouble. He will come home in 4th position. What an effort. Nortec will take P5 even with the 5-second time penalty. Dingers P6, Harrison 7th, Switchback in 8th. Just be waiting on Chase, who will be our final finisher in P9. It will be 2 points for him. What a unbelievably dramatic race. We almost had a bit more drama when Chase ran wide there at turn 13. Fortunately, he's kept control of the car. Yeah, I reckon, Matty. You were driving very slowly to try and save you. But hey man, force 4th and driver of the day is driver of the day. You deserve that. Did not put a single lap time down during qualifying. Kept completely out of trouble. Finishes 4th. But well done to Vermeer. A fine performance. Commanded the race. Built himself a very healthy margin before the wet weather period. Stubbly, I would say, was quicker in that wet weather period, but it was too little too late. It's Vermeer who wins the Dutch Grand Prix. Stubbly home in 2nd. Cam Tizzle, his first pole position in the AM1 Championship, results in a 3rd place finish. The unofficial results of the Dutch Grand Prix. Vermeer is our race winner, with Stubbly coming home in 2nd. Cam Tizzle will complete the podium places in P3. Matty Robbo, P4, gets driver of the day. Nortec started from P7. He ends up finishing in 5th. Dingers P6, followed by Harrison 7th, Switchback in 8th. Chase in 9th. Garvey 10th. He ended up scoring 1 point for himself. Switchback also ended up getting fastest lap as well, so an extra point for him. Excuse me, 9 P11, Bursey in 12th, Johnny Damon in 13th. GNF recorded here for Johnny Damon. He retired on track, so that might be called up to the stewards. Scavnier retirement as well. Electric Blade, our first retirement of the race. So 13 cars started, 12 ended up finishing this Grand Prix. Yeah, this game is very silly. I've been through that tyre selection glitch myself, where you select a particular tyre, you go into the pits, and your team give you a different set. I think what you have to do is confirm with Mark that you're going into the pits. And I think that confirms what tyre you're going to change onto. It's very weird. I think that's a solution for it. I don't know if it's the solution for that kind of glitch. But yeah, I remember one time where I actually radioed in to Mark that I'm coming into pit lane, and I think that confirmed the change that I made on the MFD. I think if you just change it on the MFD, there's a chance that the change isn't confirmed, so you get put onto a different tyre. It's absolutely rubbish that you have to do something like that. It's not been a problem in the previous titles ever. I started league racing back in 2019. That wasn't a problem then. It wasn't a problem in 2020. It wasn't a problem in 2021. It's only with this game. Amongst several other glitches in this game, yeah, you're right, this game is very silly. And I can't wait for the same stuff in F123. And let's be honest, that's exactly what we're going to get in F123. It's going to be so much fun. I can assure you. It's going to be so great. There's not a single hint of sarcasm in that whatsoever. Oh, but what a dramatic race we've had today. Dramatic qualifying session, drama at the start, drama throughout, drama. I suppose that's what you come to expect with Circuit Zandvoort. It's just that kind of race track. You tend to see those kinds of races at old-fashioned circuits. And Zandvoort is definitely one of those old-fashioned circuits, just full of drama. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. And what a stream it has been. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for round 11 of the AM1 Championship at Autodromo Nazionale Monza, the Italian Grand Prix. I have a feeling the drama hasn't stopped yet. I have a gut feeling we're going to probably see a fair chunk of chaos when we head over to the Temple of Speed. But until then, it's goodbye.